those of you that don't know or I haven't had the chance to connect with further, I'm Cassidy. I'm this chapter's life and disability insurance specialist. As I mentioned before, number 5 on the summit, as always, number 1 in your guys' hearts. And so a little bit of background on me here. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado. I was fortunate enough to play football at Eastern Washington University. That's where I met the love of my life, sitting right back there in the room. Yes, I did outkick my coverage far and away. I was fortunate enough, I played football professionally in the Canadian Football League for about 3 years. Katrina and I moved to Florida here in May of 2020, right at the height of COVID, and it was one of the best decisions that we've ever made. And so my why, as I mentioned before, sitting right back there in the back of the room. And so my wife is the reason why I get up every morning, right? And so everything that I do is to truly create a life of significance for us. And as Taylor mentioned, Katrina has a huge vision for us and for our family. And I truly want to be the one that can create that for her. And we want to break generational curses in our family. We come from families of divorce as well as, I believe, mediocrity. And we want to be the ones to break that in our family. And so, looking at us, those are our fur babies. We got Capone up there, he's the baby, obviously. We've got Coda, he's our pit lab, and then my Cali girl, she's our pitty. And so that, just a little photo of them. And so, also as Taylor mentioned, I recently moved firms. And so why did I make that move? I felt like with my last firm, I was really just kind of hitting a wall. And I felt that there were more things that I could do for my clients. There was a better way to serve my clients, and there was more things that I could really do. So I started scouring the industry. Rich Fika actually got wind of this and said, hey, can I connect you with Chris Burrito? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Chris Burrito, some of you may know, he obviously works at West Shore Financial Group, but he's also in BNI as well. And as I started having conversations with Chris, I've never met a man that I've connected more with and I'm more aligned with in terms of values, morals, ethics, and the process that's in place around this industry of protection. And one of the biggest things that I've learned and what I've seen is that it's a very uncommon approach to very common sense knowledge. And so, how do we live this? Are you protected? Right, so why do I do what I do? Because I'm a protector at heart and in my core. I protected pretty boys for a living for 15 years, and now I have the opportunity to protect families, businesses, and individuals from life's unexpected events. And so what I quickly learned is that my number 1 asset is my income. And so nothing happens for me, my wife, or our future children if my income goes away. And so when I talk about protecting income, I often have to ask people a very tough and challenging question. What if your last paycheck was your last paycheck? A premature death can happen at any time, and a premature disability can happen at any time. And I really don't like the word disability, and so really what I mean by that is that it's injuries or illnesses that prevent you from being able to go to work. And so your average disability claim lasts 2.5 years. How many of you could go 2.5 years without a paycheck? That's kind of what I thought. And so that is millions of dollars that we as individuals stand to earn throughout the course of our career. And so that is truly our number 1 asset. And so my passion is to help protect families and help those families and individuals and business owners protect that asset. And so how do we do this? Let's look at some case studies. These are actual real case studies that Chris and I have worked on together since just being at West Shore Financial. Let's meet the Y family, shall we? We got Mr. Y, he's in sales, makes $110,000 a year. Mrs. Y, she's a business owner, she makes about $100,000 a year. When I met them, they had 0 life insurance, not a dollar. You guys believe that? Not one. So, what were we able to do for them? A quick solution is that we were able to put $4 million of life insurance in place on this family for less than 2% of their income. A premature death for Mr. Y would result in a $2.75 million loss for him and his family should something like that happen. But for less than 2%, we were able to get $4 million of life insurance in place. And so, a great intro for me, that macho family that you guys have heard me talking about. They are married, ages 30 to 55, they've got kids, they own their home, and have an occupation household income of $100,000 or more. Very simply put, they're professional families that you know, they got a good income, they're a good family, and I want to make sure that they're protected. One more here, let's meet the M family. They got a combined household income of about $170,000, and combined, they only have about $145,000 of life insurance between the two of them. Now, When we look at that, a death or a disability would cause a $5 million loss if Mr. M should die prematurely or become disabled. On the other side, 5.5 for Mrs. M. So what's the solution? We're able to put $5 million of life insurance in place and a $10,000 per month disability insurance policy in place for less than 5% of their annual income, and that disability insurance will be paid out to them tax-free. And so who is this? The great answer for me is Dinkwads. Dual income, no kids with a dog. Dog is optional, but it is preferred. And so who can help me meet them? Let's go through our contact spheres here. First, we've got real estate. And so realtors, mortgage brokers, title companies, homeowners insurance. We got mortgage protection. And so when we look at mortgage protection, a lot of times if someone buys a home and if they happen to pass away, that mortgage needs to be paid off. That death benefit will be paid to them tax-free and will be available to them tax-free. A growing family, as they're working with realtors and they're looking to buy a bigger home, a lot of times it means that their families are growing. And they can get more interest. Well, if their family is growing, that means that they can put more, they need more life insurance in place. The next one, we look at legal. A lot of times family law, we have with a divorce decree. As we look at that, so with the divorce decree, a lot of times it requires life insurance, and I can help provide that. With estate planning, right, we can use life insurance as a tax-free transfer of death upon death, and we can really help finish that estate plan. With insurance CPAs and so on, right, with C-suite executives, a lot of times their benefits max out at a certain point, and their income is greater than what their benefits can cover, and we can provide additional supplemental income for that, or supplemental coverages for that, excuse me. With B2B selling, I'm running a little bit short on time. Please schedule a one-to-one with me, and I can go through that. But basically, with partners in business, a buy-sell agreement, we can help facilitate that. 1099s, if they don't have any benefits through their employer, we want to make sure that we can get them taken care of. And so, how I want to meet them. These are just a few success numbers up here of what I can do in terms of being able to facilitate and build that relationship. My preferred method is I would love to get introduced to them personally. If you come across any of those folks, say, hey, I'm actually grabbing coffee with a really great friend of mine. I'd love to connect you with us. Can you join us next Friday? I have a 90% success rate of being able to establish a relationship with that person and make them a client for the rest of my life, their lives. Email introduction, I've got 70% success rate. If you just give them my phone number, that immediately drops to 50%. Now you see this category over here, it says both. I want to meet with both spouses or both business partners. And the reason being is that I don't care if someone makes all the financial decisions or they're the only decision maker within that family. I want to make sure that everyone is on the exact same page, that we make decisions as a team, and that I'm not sitting across the table from someone, I'm sliding over and sitting on the same side of the table. So with that, I'm Cass Kurtz, your life and disability insurance.